I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the...
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Kamen Riders. I'm your host. My name is Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and joining me, as always, to talk about Kamen Rider Geats is my good buddy Toby. What's up, Toby?
Hello, Josh. Josh, this is the time of the episode where we... I think of something stupid to start talking about. So let me tell you a little story, Josh.
Oh, I'd love to hear a story.
This is my...
I was worried, Toby, we were going to have to start talking about Kamen Rider at the beginning of this episode. So thank God. Go on.
Yes. So there's an unofficial rule. This is before my complaint. There's an unofficial rule of YouTube where most videos, you can skip the first 30% of the video, because that's when like the personality, some would say, is like, hey guys, so today we're going to do this, and this is why we're going to do it. And like, like and subscribe and blah, 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 blah.
Make sure to smash that like button, hit the bell.
Smash the like button.
Yeah.
We can usually skip the first 30%.
Yep.
So this time, I feel like is usually our YouTube introduction, where realistically, if you want to get to the actual meat of the episode, probably skip about 15 minutes in if you really want to.
Give or take. I'm feeling pretty wordy today, Toby. I don't know.
Perfect. Yeah. So, everyone get ready to hit fast forward. Josh, you know how like when things come out in media, the usual line is like, "Oh, this is the what the fuck thing is it? It like
I don't know. This is your story, dude.
I lost myself already. The movie that had Rosebud in it.
Citizen Kane.
Thank you. Everything's always this is the Citizen Kane of games, movies, TV, anime, music, whatever. You know that comparison people like to make?
I do. Yeah.
But the train's getting on track now. So that comparison is irritating to me. I know the whole point of the flex is like, this is the greatest version of this media. Everyone should watch this, blah, blah, blah. So the other day, The Last of Us is now a TV show.
Correct.
The other day, I saw the comparison that The Last of Us episode 3 is like San Junipero. That's all that was in the comparison.
San Junipero?
Yes.
What is San Junipero?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now I know what it is because I've watched the show that it's from. But I think we're getting a little fast and loose with this rule. We're just going to randomly drop some other random X thing as a comparison point and expect people to know what the fuck it means to be able to understand the comparison in the first place.
Oh, it's a Black Mirror episode. Okay.
Right. So it's a Black Mirror episode. So obviously you have to watch Black Mirror first to know this. Second, you'd probably have to remember what San Junipero was. Now, so The Last of Us has not a lot of, but it has like the gay romances and those kind of situations.
Okay.
San Junipero is a very, I guess, gay-friendly, gay-strong episode about two ladies finding each other through time, blah, blah, blah. But it seems so random to me to use a throwaway episode, or not throwaway, but like a random episode of a random different show to try to get people's attention to a new episode of a new show when it's that like external or adjacent from like what people probably watch.
I don't know. That one almost seems like more fitting for me. So I agree with you that the like, oh, what's the Citizen Kane of video games, or what's, whatever. Like comparing things to Citizen Kane is really stupid because most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, what people mean is what is the all-time best video game? What is the all-time best whatever? Like that's all they mean by Citizen Kane. But like in this case, at least they're saying like some of the themes are carrying over. Like they're saying it's the San Junipero because of the, the gay themes, it sounds like, that are carrying over from the show's 2 episodes and stuff. So at least there's thematic similarities, and they're not just saying like best ever, and they sound more pretentious for saying it.
I suppose, but it drove me nuts the other day because it's such a random pool of like, you have to know layers upon layers of random medias to even get this.
Yeah. It is a pretentious thing. Like you could just talk about the themes you want to talk about, but instead you have to like add an extra level of like gatekeeperiness to it to like, I'm gonna be cagey and reference something that makes sure you've seen this other thing. Yeah.
So I mean, in theory, it's a fantastic comparison, I'm sure. I'm not going to watch The Last of Us until it's all out because I'm one of those TV watchers, not like episodic shit anymore.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this is dumb. I know what it means, and I guess it's okay, but it's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not like in love with it, but like it's I sometimes those types of comparisons have value, but oftentimes, yeah, it's just like either an elitist thing or it's just like a really misguided, like, you could have just said what's the best. What's the Citizen Kane of asking what's the Citizen Kane of things? what's the best one of those, like the most ridiculous? What's the Citizen Kane of crossword puzzles?
New York Times, baby.
Oh,
With that Will Schultz guy, or the hell his name was.
Well, you can't just say like New York Times. Like the New York Times has been doing puzzles for like a million years. Like you have to pick a puzzle.
Citizen Kane's a million years old. That's why it's the reference point of all movies.
I have an actual answer for this. The Citizen Kane of crossword puzzles is that one puzzle that the New York Times put out on the election day. Where
I knew you were gonna say this because if you didn't, I was going to.
Okay, so yeah, if you're not aware, Bill Clinton, Bob Dole, were in the United States presidential election. There was a puzzle coming out basically the day after the election. So the puzzle had to be created prior to the election results being made public, but was coming out after the election results would have been known. So the puzzle was written in such a way that the like center big clue was like the winner of the whatever year presidential election. And it was written in such a way where you could fill in either person, so either like Clinton or Bob Dole, and then the crosses would work with either person. So like the clues were written in such a way that two words would fit. Either a word that fits when you chose Clinton or a word that fits when you chose Bob Dole.
So
which is incredibly hard to do, right? Like to come up with a single clue that fits two different words, and to do that for basically every single word that would cross the clue of Clinton or Bob Dole is insane.
So I sent you the link of the pictures so that you can put it in the YouTube video for the visual.
Perfect. Thank you.
But there are seven different clues that dramatically had to be adjusted to make this work. The first one was black Halloween animal, which could be cat or bat. One was a basic French word, which is either Louis, L-U-I, or oui, O-U-I. So one's yes. I don't remember what Louis was, but they're both basic French words. One was provider of support for short. That was IRA or bra. One was a sewing shop purchase, which was yarn or yard. One was short writings, which is bits, as in things on the computer, or bios, like a writing bio. One was trumpet, was just the clue. And the options were boast or to blast. So either like boasting, like you're trumpeting your
really good,
great ideas, or blast, like blasting out notes. And then the last one was much debated political inits, INITS.
Initials.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep. Okay. So that was either ERA or NRA. So the puzzle genius managed to come up with not only two wildly different large answers, but made 7 different clues work well enough that depending on who won, you could still figure out the other clues.
Yeah, it absolutely ridiculous. It's just insane. I'm not sure if we've ever talked about it, Toby, but I have dabbled in writing crossword puzzles here and there.
I only remember this because there was times we would talk where we were talking on Twitter or Discord or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I was watching this stream last night where so-and-so on Twitch was making crossword puzzles, and it's the coolest thing ever, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it actually is pretty fun. It's more fun than you think it would be. And it's cool because it's like, nowadays writing crossword puzzles, it's very tool assisted. So you can write a computer program that can show you every iteration of things that fit in this quadrant of your puzzle based on like a word list you feed it that has, hundreds of thousands of words and stuff. So like it's very cool and like is a real interesting software project too. But when I was getting into crossword puzzles, and signed up for the New York Times or whatever, this puzzle was one that I heard was really interesting. But the person who was telling me about it just basically said like, yeah, you need to go do the like November 5th, 1996 puzzle, and didn't tell me anything about it. So I just went back and started filling it out, and like I got to this realization of either answer worked on my own, which was like it was so much fun to figure that out. But just real genius. Yeah, that's really great.
I'm real genius. And then there was
not me. The puzzle is genius.
Okay. And there was also two of the large word answers. One answer was Mr. President spelled out, and the other super large answer was prognostication. So those are both very clever when thinking about the presidential adjustments that were possible.
Yep. Yeah, those are called theme answers usually in a crossword puzzle. So typically a crossword puzzle will have themes, and the longest entries will be related to that theme in some way. So like in this case, it's it's kind of all about like presidential election type stuff. Sometimes they'll get way more complicated where I actually have to go like look up what the theme was to understand it. But yeah, they'll usually be like thematically related in some way. But yeah, you're right. I think we've solved it, Toby. That is the Citizen Kane of crossword puzzles. And now I think this is the Citizen Kane of podcast episodes.
Let's do it.
Toby, we got some emails. Would you like to talk about emails?
Let's do some emails.
I love emails. If you also love emails and love sending emails and would like to send them to us, you can do so. Send them to cast@kamenridersucks.com. But we have an email this week from our friend Shade. Shade writes in again to tell us some interesting things, Toby. Shade says, first of all, a Kamen Rider Cross Super Sentai concert is happening soon. I guess this is a yearly thing. Shade says it's very cool. All the Rider and Sentai musicians and actors are going to be there. Last year, we even got some announcements for some new projects as well. And Shade shared the graphic basically promoting the show. So super interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. So I'll keep on the lookout for that. And then Shade moves on to talking about Kamen Rider Geats itself with some tidbits here. So first, we've talked a lot about the kind of intro to the show. So like the graphics that are present at the intro of the show. Of course, like the one we talk about a lot is Sumi pointing her gun at Ace. Throughout the intro, however, you also see some of the wish cards that you write down. Like, what do you want to come true when you win the Desire Grand Prix? So up until fairly recently, the one card we see written down said, who's the one to achieve the desire? And now it has been changed to say, who is a backstabber?
Ew.
Yeah, so playing into the spy aspect of the current game.
So that's obviously one of those things where I, as a Renaissance man, skip that stupid theme song every time.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm glad that we have people to point these things out to me. Because especially, like, I mean, it was weeks/months ago at this point where they started taking people out of the intro video.
Yeah.
Like the riders that were defeated, got grayed out or like digitally staticked out. So it is cool to know that they're still doing things with the intro. I personally will continue to keep not watching the intro. So I appreciate when people tell me what's going on because I'm going to stubbornly not listen to that song.
It's very like Simpsons-esque where like, yeah, it's the same intro. You can skip it easily, but like it's a little bit different every time or there's like a slightly different, chalkboard gag. I appreciate shows that go to that effort, I guess. And it's interesting that I like the Geats is like making sure their intro stays relevant, which is very cool.
And again, it goes with what we talked about last week where like the show is evolving as it's recording kind of deal because they have bits and pieces of what they know they want to do, but not the whole thing. So it definitely ties into that as well, where they're like, well, now we're adjusting this. So we should adjust the theme as well, or like the intro graphics and keep everybody on their toes.
On the toes. Shade goes on and tells us a little bit about the kind of construction buckle that we've been seeing recently. That's actually called the Powered Builder Buckle, and this was new information for me. It actually was the buckle that belonged to the movie exclusive Kamen Rider Seeker. So that's where that buckle originally debuted. And if you remember, when Ace first finds the buckle, he opens it and he was like, "Oh, I didn't expect to see this here." That's because the movie was the first place he encountered the buckle, so he was seeing it again when he meets it in the episode, and that's why he had that like surprise, like, "Oh, it's you." It's because
those clever bastards.
yeah, it was the movie show. I'm excited to see this movie. I don't know much about it, of course, because we haven't been able to see it yet, but I am excited to check it out whenever it gets translated. Shade also tells us that Kamen Rider Lopo's actress Rina Onuki is really good at sports IRL. She's into basketball and has been playing for 11 years. So
it seems almost unfair that she's in the basketball game.
It does. Yeah, it seems like she should have to act more. I don't know. And then Shade linked us to a video which I made you watch here right before this. Shade says, "Finally, since you guys talked about the Fox dance last time, you'll want to see this." And the video is, again, it's the main cast. So you've got Buffa, Neon, Keiwa, Ace, and Sumi, and they're kind of doing it in like an interview setting or something. And the actor who plays Ace decides to show off a talent, we'll say. And his talent seems to be doing a Samoan haka. So if you're not familiar with what that is, it's like it's a dance where you do a lot of like stomping and chest slapping and yelling. You would see like kind of like Samoan warriors doing it. So you'll see like rugby teams doing it before they play. Sometimes you'll see it in wrestling. Like a character will come out and do like a haka before they wrestle. But seeing like very fancy dressed Ace doing it was amazing.
Yeah, he was in his full like Star of the Stars outfit where it's like the 3-piece suit, which doesn't seem like it's really made fabrically for such activities, but he made it work.
He did make it work. And the second best part was Keiwa's actor and Neon's actor just losing their minds laughing while this is happening. Absolutely stellar.
And
so
Josh is going to remember to link this video in the YouTube description.
Yeah.
So as always, you can click away for about a minute, go watch this fun little video, and then make sure you come back.
And actually, in the video for when we talked about the Fox dance, I just played the video on our video. So,
you should probably do that again. That's very
good.
wise of you.
That's why you should be watching the video versions of our episodes. You never know what you're going to see. So Shade, thanks very much for writing in. That's some fun trivia, and boy, that video definitely brightened my day. We got another email as well. This one comes in from our friend Kieran. Kieran says, starting off, "Don't worry, no terrible titles this week."
That boy.
Kieran says, couple things from last week. Pidgey's helmet. So you've gotten Kieran saying Pidgey now. Thanks a lot for that.
I'm glad that I'm very flattered that I drag people down with me with my stupid naming.
Kieran says Pidgey's helmet is actually a repaint of the penguin/owl helmet, but with the head crest removed. Yeah, so I thought it did actually look familiar now that we're saying that. So I can see that lineage. And the new buckle was used in the movie by the villain Kamen Rider Seeker. So yeah, Kieran confirming the movie lineage of that buckle. Kieran says, in terms of other shows for you to watch, I would suggest Kamen Rider Game, which we actually heard about Game from Shade last week as well. Kieran says that Game is the show that got me into watching Rider when it crossed over with the Sentai show Tokyuger. The guy shows up with an orange on his head. Of course, I'm going to watch it. Surprisingly, for a show about people wearing fruit for armor, it was actually a pretty cool show. So, have you seen Kamen Rider Game, Toby?
I think you know the answer to this question.
Obviously, no.
I have not.
have you in the last 5 seconds Googled Kamen Rider Game?
I'm going to type very loud just so everyone can hear it. Kamen Rider.
It's GAIM.
Oh, I was going to spell that wrong. Thank you very much. Kamen Rider game. Let's see. It looks like a Dragon Quest cover for the logo. You know what? I think someone did show me this before. It might have been you. It might have been someone else. But I do remember these crazy outfits where like they literally do look like the fruits they're representing.
Yeah.
Like there's like the orange man with the slices. There's a coconut guy in the background, it looks like.
Yep. Yeah, so the orange man with the slices is Game himself, like the main guy. And he literally has an orange slice sword. He has like orange rinds on his shoulders. The driver in this episode is a knife that comes down and slices open the fruit that represents the rider.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I have not watched Kamen Rider game. It is on my Plex server waiting for me to start it currently because I have heard people like Kieran say over and over again how good it is. It looks ridiculous, but I keep hearing that it actually is very good. So, yeah, I think it is probably one that should be higher on our list as well. I agree.
So it's crazy. So, like, I know the farther we get past the older shows, the more time they have to do more things with them. But it's crazy because there's 47 episodes, which is fine. It seems like these are all like 40 episodes.
About reasonable, yeah.
But
usually in the 40 to 50.
Yeah, but then there's 8 movies and 4 other specials. So there's been like entirely too much time for Orange Man here to be chilling, and it's just like there's just tons. They just pile the lore on top of each other.
I mean, look, like that stuff is going to be so inconsequential because like, so he's going to have the like intro movie where he debuts and it's going to be like a scene where it's like, oh shit, it's the new Kamen Rider, and then he's gone. And then he's going to have his main movie where there actually will be lore, but it'll be pretty self-contained. And then the rest of those are probably all going to be like he shows up for like a half a second or something and he's there, or he's like in the background, or you know, like it's a crossover thing on their streaming service and it's not important because it's who cares. It probably doesn't matter. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. I gotcha. All right.
Like not that it would be fun to watch all 8 of those, but I'm saying I don't know that you need to watch all 8 of those movies to get the full plot of the show. It's the only thing. Kieran also says outside of Rider, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 30th anniversary special is out in a couple months with various returning Rangers and a robotic Rita Repulsa. So definitely something to watch.
I saw the screenshots or some of the screen caps of it's like a Netflix special, I guess.
Yep.
The Rangers look, I mean, we all age.
They're old.
But they all look very old.
They do. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember too, like, right? These are teenagers that when they cast them as teenagers, they were already out of their teens. Like,
yeah, they were probably like mid-20s 30 years ago. So like 55, 60, 65 probably.
They're going to look pretty old. Cool seeing them back in the costumes though. Like the shot of like Billy and Zach again. And
yes, that's specifically what I thought of because like they have like tousled hair Billy.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, he just looks like an old man now, which I guess is, again, normal, but it just looks weird.
Yeah, it's a shame they couldn't get Kimberly back. Like, she sent out a tweet kind of after the show got announced and she wasn't on it. And she was kind of basically saying, like, I never said no. I just didn't say yes to the amount of money that they offered me. I was like, okay, well, that's saying no. That's how saying no works. Like you're saying,
we see where you're sitting here.
Yeah, you're saying no. I won't do it for that amount of money. Like I get it, but like at the same time, it's like I'd probably do it. It's like one episode, right? Like just go do it. It's one episode. Who cares? Like it doesn't matter if you're not making your normal pay. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't hold like Power Rangers in a high regard for her career, but like
she's Felicity now. She doesn't have time for this shit.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so like clearly she's the one who's like the biggest actress maybe from these, but like I feel like I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll go back for my roots and do this like one little episode, but
for old time's sake.
Yeah, just for old time's sake.
Billy is 54, so he was 24 when they filmed the first season.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, 54. You're You're going to be able to see that difference. 54 versus 24. It's going to be a little noticeable.
Shit's starting to fall apart at this point.
Exactly. I've been watching a lot of Power Rangers. So me and the kid have been getting into Power Rangers, and we have been watching Power Rangers Dino Fury, which is like the newest season, and it's pretty fun, Toby. But it goes some places that I wasn't expecting really it to go.
Like
Um,
we have to teach the kid about like adult themes or just
no, not like that. But like it crosses over at one point. Like you get a few episodes in, you sort of think you figured out the formula for the show, right? Like, all right, I get this. Like a monster shows up, a Sporks monster shows up, they fight it, they get the little thing. Well, whatever. I know who the bad guys are. I know who this season's like Rita Repulsa is or whatever. But then you get an episode in, I think it's like maybe like episode 9 or 10 or something like that. And this dude shows up and he's just like he's a character from the previous Power Rangers show. I think Ninja Steel is what that one was called. And he's not one of the writers, but he's one of the other main characters. He shows up, so they like cross over from like that Power Rangers, and then like a big key like plot device item shows up in that episode that then like kicks off sort of like their next big adventure. So they link more closely to like previous versions of Power Rangers than I've ever seen before. And then I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. Like they're actually building this lore up in a way I wouldn't have expected them to. And then a couple episodes later, freaking Lord Zed shows up, just like full on, like from when we were kids, Lord Zed.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I was looking up the IMDb page while we're talking about this, and like the trailer starts playing right away. So I'm watching the trailer; it looks pretty cool. And then legit, I just saw Lord Zed show up,
Yeah,
and I was debating if it was a spoiler if I told you. So I'm glad you already saw it. But yeah, it's fucking crazy because he would have been like season 2.
yeah. And they actually have like a really good reason for why he shows up. Like he essentially is like
to get the old people invested, like you.
well, yeah, exactly. But in the lore of the show, he's being like basically mind controlled, or like he's being controlled. He's got like a control collar on, and they break him free, and he just sort of like runs off to go like exact his own revenge, like he kind of does his own thing. So yeah, purely a nostalgia play having him on the show, but like definitely a bigger thing than I thought that like modern Power Rangers would be attempting to do. So anyway, that was very fun. I'm pleasantly surprised by how much I'm enjoying the Power Rangers. And did you see the costumes for the new Cosmic Fury Power Rangers? Have we talked about that?
No, go hit me with it.
I'll find you a picture here. So people are pretty split on whether they like them or not. Because this season, the Cosmic Fury, which is what they're like working on now, it's going to be what the next season is. They're using the Q Ranger Zords, so that was a really beloved Sentai season, but they're not using any of the Q Ranger outfits. So they are designing unique costumes specifically for like the English speaking show.
Gotcha. So the people are probably mad.
The people are mad about that. Yeah. What is this? Why aren't any of these the costumes? So yeah, people are mad. I think it's just in general because they love Q Ranger, and then the fact that the costumes when they showed them are like kind of not great. People are a little bit more not excited about it. But here's what they look like. They're pretty plain, unfortunately. There you go. So like it's just
these
like
look like the cheapest budget Power Ranger costumes you could ever see.
yeah.
They're like flat, one colored spandex suit things.
Yep.
And they just have very plain like cowls, I guess we'll call them, like little like silver things that go around their necks that look like shoulder pads. But this looks like if someone made like their own like knockoff, low budget indie. This is my Power Rangers side project for fun with my friends. This is what it looks like.
The the thing that I hate about them is the fake muscles, which feels very un-Power Rangers. Like having the molded in muscles, like is just very weird looking. Now, granted, like seeing, if you saw behind the scenes footage of like Captain America from the Marvel movies, like he looks a lot lamer than how he ends up looking in the movie version. So like they can do stuff with lighting and with like post processing that like makes things look a little bit cooler. And these are obviously just like kind of candid shots from set. So like might end up looking a little bit differently, but like, yeah, there's not a lot to them and they're pretty generic. The cool thing is though, the Red Ranger is Hunter Deno. So she was previously with the Pink Ranger, and now she gets to transition over and become the new Red.
She is the new leader. She earned her red stripes.
She did, yeah, and she booted out the previous Red Ranger. I don't really know how that happens. He's still in the show. He just isn't red anymore. So I don't know what the plot for that will be. We're not there yet. But yeah, I think that catches you up in all the Power Rangers drama, Toby. It's important to stay abreast of the Power Rangers drama.
I appreciate all the information I've received.
That's half the fun of being involved in any fandom, is just being up to date on all the drama. All right, Tobes, let's talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 19. What do you say?
Let's do it. This is what the people have been jonesing for.
Yeah, they've been clamoring for it. So we are picking up, and we are in the midst of a basketball game.
GMR ball, the greatest, the greatest sporting event in whatever dimension these kids live in.
Yeah, and truly, the Giamato are the Monstars, as we talked about Space Jam last episode, because now they're just full on cheating. There's like 40 of them. We talked about. There's 2 balls, and the Kamen Riders are looking like they're going to lose. Things aren't looking good. But the show opens again with the talking heads, and Keiwa is pretty upset still that he's everyone's thinking that he is the disaster, the spy, the mole, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like he's visibly shaking his whole thing, and he's like, I don't know why they keep doing this to me. I'm telling you guys, I'm not the person. Like, please stop calling me this bad name.
And my next note that I wrote down, I don't remember what happened to spur it on, but I just wrote, I really hate Daiichi, who is Kamen Rider Naj Sparrow.
Pidgey, yes. He's a big
Pidgey.
jerk.
He's the one who has been basically framing Keiwa this whole time. What a piece of trash he is.
Yeah, jerk bird. They have no souls, Josh. Birds have no souls.
Birds aren't real. We have a lot of good ball action in this episode as well, Toby.
This is the worst. Like this damn basketball game is ruining the integrity of the show with these
of
damn
our show
jokes. Yes,
I'm just talking about balls. I don't know why you're making it weird. Toby, there are 2 balls. Count them. 1, 2, 2 balls.
1, 2.
There are 2 balls in this episode. A lot of you have to grab the balls. You got to throw them. You got to catch them. Just there's really good ball handling is what I've been seeing. It's what I like to see on the court. So again, like last episode, a lot of this episode is just playing this game. Just like you see the points go up. It's like you see, we're 17-16. Now we're 17-27. Now we're 20-30 and 23-30. It just keeps ticking its way up. A lot of cool fighting though. Like Ace creates a roller coaster at some point in the beginning of this episode. Like he just creates this like piping that he can like ride on using.
He's pretty much like grinding. He makes like rails for himself to grind on, but like 100 feet in the air.
It's like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh Jesus! And it's crazy too. So like they basically like it starts with, okay, we're gonna lose if we don't stop fucking around here, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And the part that bothers me, of all the things that could bother me,
please,
this is the part that bothers me.
Hit me.
So the rule was early established that if you shoot the ball from a certain distance, if you're close, it's 3 points. If you're far away, it's 5 points.
Yeah.
So Ace gets the motivation of like, guys, I'm the hero. I will save the day as always. Here we go. So he throws both balls in the air. He throws them both towards the goal, obviously. and he does crazy bullet time, like wanted movie bullet steering, aiming, whatever, to like shoot the balls into the goal around everybody.
Right.
And the vibe of the scene itself is very cool. Like it's like, okay, like Ace is gonna ace. This is all gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, it totally is that vibe of just like, okay, let me just go ahead and do the fancy thing that just wins everything. Okay, I'll do that now. Okay, great.
Yeah, so he does the thing, he gets him back in the game. The bullshit part to me is, so right before the balls get in the goal, he shoots them both one last time right in front of the goal to steer them in to score to score twice. Now this counts as 10 points because he threw the ball from very far away. But
Oh,
if the bullet touched the ball right before it went in the goal, I feel like that should count as a 3-point shot for each because they interacted with the shot right before it went in.
yeah, that's a 6-pointer, not a 10-pointer.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're a bunch of damn cheaters.
I'm with you. Yeah, we got to wipe out those kids from that canteen. They should be dead. That wasn't worth 10 points. We care about the integrity of this game, damn it.
Exactly. I'm here for sportsmanship, and this was poor sportsmanship.
I agree. Yeah. It also is a little bit weird that like there are ranges from where you have to shoot the ball, but like that's not really marked anywhere. They just kind of have to know it.
Yeah, they just say either close or far, and it doesn't seem like anyone really knows. And then the Giamoto, who do crazy like charged shots from all the way across the court, which you know are definitely fives.
They load it into their shotgun cannon and then launch it forever. So yeah, Ace does his cool double shot, cheats and gets and gets the 10 points, but nonetheless he gets counted as 10 points and he draws the game at the very last second. So he ties it up and the game ends in a draw. Meanwhile, while all this was happening, Keiwa's just been kind of standing there doing nothing because Sae basically told him to do that. They're worried that he is the spy, the mole. So when they started the particular fighting this particular time, they kind of just told Keiwa like just stand there, don't get in our way, and don't do anything. So
Be the
again,
Keiwa you used to be, where you're just terrified of the world and just said, I don't want to fight. I don't want to do anything.
exactly. Just stay out of the way. You're good. Don't mess this up for us. So that's what he's been doing. Again, you talked about Keiwa last episode, like really not helping his case at all. And again, he not really helping his case too much by just standing here like a bump on a log, not actually fighting. We find out since the game ended in a draw, we will have overtime tomorrow. So that is how we'll finish up. We will have an overtime. And a couple players still need to vote before the game ends on who they think the disaster is. Keiwa then, Toby, is invited to speak to our frog friend.
His best buddy.
Yeah, it turns out the frog is, again, like we kind of saw last week, is a big Keiwa supporter. And the frog explains like, hey, how do you think you got all those boost buckles all this time? So the frog had been sending Keiwa the boost buckles and making sure Keiwa had, all of the easy for Keiwa secret missions that gave him the boost buckle and gave him the special drops here and there. So the frog is really the patron saint of Keiwa.
And it's crazy because, like, again, like I said last week, like this is another one of those moments where they do a fantastic job of like just solved most of the backstory of like we used to always laugh and be like, why does Keiwa always get it? Is it because he's like the secret hero? Is it because he's the weakest and like it's just tied to him somehow? And it was really just none of those things. It was this little frog statue decided Keiwa's my guy. I'm just gonna help him out as much as I can.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we can cut back to those conversations we were having. I was like, if this is a game and this is random, it seems pretty ridiculous that he's getting this every time. And then it actually is a reason that he was. That's great.
Yeah, it's a solid reason. It's not like just like, oh, the gods shine in your favor kind of thing. It was like, no, this one person specifically thinks you're cool. So this one person specifically is going to make your job as easy as possible.
Yep. Great. Pretty awesome. And I again continue to love the frog. It is bold and ridiculous, and I can't believe that they have a character who is just a statue of a frog, but Solid. Yes, that's great. Sign me up.
It just works. Somehow it just works.
It does just really work. Like it's amazing. Like I was really buying into it by the time KY finished this conversation. I was like, this is great. He's certainly better than Gene. God,
Yeah, that
Gene.
weirdo. Creeper Gene.
Gene freaks me out whenever he's on my screen. I don't like it. Gene and Daiichi, those two, just they can fuck off. um, we see that Buffa is alive and in the real world. Last we saw of Buffa, he was kind of wandering out of the area where the greenhouse was. He'd managed to kind of against all odds to henshin, become Kamen Rider Buffa once again, and he had taken one of the Giamato vine buckles. So now Buffa has found his way back into the regular world, and Geats finds him and says like, "Oh, it's good to see you alive." And Geats has brought him convenience store snacks, much like Sumi brought Geats when he was he was being hunted and he was in need. Fuck, that's cute, Toby. That's so fucking cute. Like an anime when the character's eyes like turn into hearts and they're like their jaw drops down. That's what happened to me. It was like, oh, this is so kawaii.
Oh jeez.
these two have this rivalry and they hate each other, and then Geats shows up with like, hey, I got you this from the convenience store. That's very cute.
I was out. I thought of you. I got us a nice little box of chocolate here. Let's sit down and talk about some things.
Exactly. It's great. I love their little relationship. It's perfect. Buffa basically explains kind of where he's been, what's been going on. Hey, what's up? I almost died. And Ace tells him to patch up your ID core with some sticky rice and get back in the game.
That was my favorite quote. I wanted to make sure we didn't skip past that. Like his motivation is like, hey, like you're still here. Don't be a baby. Like, just come back and play if you want to. No one cares. Like, you'll still be Buffa. I'll still be me, but we're cool.
Yeah. We will still have our whole dynamic. You still want to kill all the Kamen Riders. But yeah, come on back. You're good. Buffa seems like maybe that's not going to be happening though, because he shows off the Giamato buckle that he has and kind of says like, oh, I'm getting my power like in a different way. Like I whatever. So kind of unfortunate. Buffa's not going to just come back and be best friends with everyone, but
he's gonna come back as evil plant man.
I think that's where we're headed. Yep, I think that's where we're headed. Again, we get a little scene of Neon and Sae. We talked about it last week. They're becoming super tight friends, and this again is where the kind of like we talked about the Pythagorean theorem. The Sae trusts Neon and Neon trusts KY. So then Sae trusts KY. Kind of continues to build. So KY on the outs, but Neon is kind of working for him there behind the scenes at least.
Yeah, she's like Neon said that he treats. I'm gonna try to find it here real quick. She said KY treats everything he protects with the most sincerity imaginable. And if that's not a sales pitch of like, no, seriously, like I don't think he could even like be the destructor if he was. It's like the best vouching for of all time.
Yeah, if he was the disaster, he would just collapse out of like fear and uncertainty of what to do, and like the idea that he's gonna make his friends upset. I thought that was very cute. It's very much like what's the 5-second pitch for KY? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, that has definitely been his character the entire time.
Yep. We next get an interesting scene. I really liked kind of where they're going with this. So we find out that Sumi comes in to basically report to the new game master that the viewership numbers for their show are on the rise.
Best they've ever been.
Best they've ever been. Looking good. The new game master says like, well, of course they are, because the old game master, Garori, was making everything way too serious, and the audience need thrills and excitement, and the supporters aren't hoping for like the happy ending where the world's saved. Like they want the drama, they want the excitement.
And this part made me think of like, while they were talking about this, I wonder if they will ever address where the game master comes from, because like this guy's version of how the DGP is supposed to go down is the polar opposite of how Jiraiya's was, where his
Yep.
was like, we're just gonna fight, you guys are gonna do your thing, and you're gonna come back. And this guy is like, I'm gonna make this as much of a game show as humanly possible. So he's all excited because like everyone's fighting and against each other in the little lobby while they're playing like Who's the Mole, and he's like, this is the best idea yet. But
Well,
he
yeah,
just
like
but he just showed
he
up out of nowhere. Like in the
right.
grand scheme of things, like he just all of a sudden this guy's here.
I didn't realize until the scene, like how much sway the game master himself was having over the game. Like I thought that the changes to the game maybe were happening because of the producer or just because like the Kamen Riders know it's a game now or something, but like no, it's the game master is making all those decisions, it seems like. So the decision to move them into the lobby so their personal lives become part of the show, the decision to add the disaster involved and have the spy seems like it came straight from him. So like yeah, the game master has a lot of sway, it seems like, over, you know, how the game functions and what it does. So that seems to tell me that we're going to see at least one more game master before this is all over. Because otherwise I don't think they'd be like pinning that much on what the game master is capable of, I guess.
Right, yeah. So again, like we said, like even if he runs one more, like I feel like you can't do reality show again. Like you have to do something different. Like he needs to have like crazier, wackier ideas.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because clearly the fact that Sumi came to report that the viewership numbers are like, you know, top of the tops, like that clearly is an important part of the game master's job, right? Like the satisfaction of the viewers. So maybe there's a point where like something happens and they turn on him or something, and he can't keep those numbers going up, and then he gets booted because of that. Who knows?
Yeah, there's lots of options here.
Yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
options.
It was cool. Yeah, this scene again was one of those ones where it's like, okay, it's very much a show. We're talking about we're talking about ratings on the show. Made it really cool. Something that I wouldn't have thought we would have like been hearing about, you know, 4 episodes ago. So we are definitely in a new era of Geats for sure. Also this game master, he's so over the top when he talks about anything, and when he talked about like the excitement, he like did this moan twice that was very uncomfortable. It was like, oh god, that sounded like an orgasm. Oh, he did it again. Cool, great, okay.
He's having the best time.
He certainly is. Yeah. I think Sumi needs to leave him alone for the rest of that that discussion. Ace returns back to the lounge pretty late, of course, from his discussion with Buffa. Keiwa's there, and Keiwa kind of sits up as Ace comes in, and Ace says, like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, did I wake you up?" Keiwa's like, "No, I can't sleep." So, again, very cute. This happens. Ace says, like, "Okay, I guess I'll be the chef this time," and Ace cooks Keiwa up a steak, a midnight snack of a steak.
And it looked fantastic. It was on like the when you go to like a Mexican restaurant and they have like the sizzling fajitas on the
Yeah.
little like stone slab, I guess they are. But it was all like you could tell it was just looked delicious, nice juicy steak, hot off the grill.
Yeah, a lot of what you see them eat in Kamen Rider doesn't really entice me, like because like the thing that, you know, Geats brought Buffa was like, it's like wrapped in seaweed, right? Like that's not really, it's fine, not really the thing that's gonna like make me crave it. But this steak, yes, made me very hungry watching that. I was not expecting a sizzling steak to appear on my screen for sure. This dinner basically is a chance for Ace to catch Keiwa up on Buffa. Like Buffa is alive, he's out there, he's not dead.
He might be a little mad, but we're still here. And
yeah, we'll see if he comes after us all. I don't know. And then Geats catches them all up on that, and then basically like Ace gets Keiwa to admit that Keiwa didn't vote for the disaster so far, which is obvious.
yeah.
And then Keiwa tries to turn that around. It's like, you were the other voter, right? Like you're the other person who didn't vote. And Ace plays coy, obviously.
As always, he's The smug, maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
And honestly, like thinking back about it now, like I think Ace had already voted. I think Ace had voted for Kwa because think about the conversations that Neon's having. She can't be she can't have voted for Kwa with the things that she's telling Sae. She had to be like she had to be the one who was holding out and not voting for Kwa.
Yeah, like actually like wrapping it back around to like how sure, obviously like in front of the group, she's like, no, he might be, blah blah blah. But like she obviously knows him well enough where she's like, no, but it really can't be him. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
like
gonna
it's
put a target on my back, but it really can't be him.
yeah, it can't be that kid. No, it can't be him. So Ace plays coy and tells Kwa, "Hey, if you want me to trust you, show me some evidence. Prove you're not the disaster."
Which seems
Which,
fair. Like all
yeah,
he wanted was like, just give me hard proof.
it seems fair, but also is very Ace. Like maybe I believe you, maybe I don't. Maybe I need something out of it.
which is obviously the way he always plays his game.
Yep, exactly. We get our kind of Daiichi talking head kind of confessional moment next, and he just full on admits to like pinning this on the easy target that is Kwa. I was like, ugh, I hate Daiichi so much. um, then our friend Buffa Toby is it's not looking too good. We find him in a dark alley. The producer is there. The producer and his assistant have found Buffa, and basically, like the producer says, "Well, we can't let the dead roam the streets," and
Yeah.
says, "Get him out of here."
And some of that, like the comment was, dying needs to be more real. I think it was. And
Yeah,
it's like, it seems like dying is real enough as it is. I don't
yeah,
know why, like, we need to make it somehow more extreme, but I guess that's the vibe we're going to go for here.
yeah. He says dying needs to have real consequences, which like it does. It does. Like Buffa escaped death essentially, right? Like it's not like every rider, is taken off somewhere still alive. Like Buffa was the one who made it.
Yeah, he's a separate special case. Like, there's no
Yeah.
reason to make this more aggressive.
um, and then so just to kind of close the loop, I guess on that, they end up taking him back to where the greenhouse is essentially and dumping him.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
let's go back home now.
yeah, like right back where he started. So Buffa once again seems like things are not looking up for him. Our sudden death begins. So that is our overtime. Is a sudden death. The first team to score wins, and it begins in a jump ball, which I thought was pretty great. The Giotto get the ball early. Keiwa like tries to fight, but Daiichi like does this big explosion, kind of knocks Keiwa back, and like kind of forces Keiwa to like pass the ball right now. Like I'm taking it.
You're not playing still. Get the hell out of here.
Exactly. And Keiwa finally stands up for himself and he says, "I'm here to protect people. That's why I have to win this game."
And it's crazy. So like this starts KY's super motivational, like, we're gonna do this, guys. We got this. But he's like, I feel like he's the most unathletic and awkward of all of them.
Yeah.
And if the game is that important, I feel like even if he was that motivated, we wouldn't be like, sure, man, you might be the bad guy. We don't know if we really trust you, but yeah, we're gonna pin our entire existence on you right now. You got this, kid.
Yeah, like listen, I really want to make sure the team wins, so I'm gonna let Ace have the ball. At this point, Ace now comes back and defends our boy Keiwa. So Ace sort of hits a Giamato and reveals that they can turn human, but he does multiple of them, and he reveals that like, oh look, all of these Giamato turn into the firefighter, so they're just copying humans. They aren't the human. They aren't the real dead human being. So and then Ace like confronts Daiichi and says, "Listen, you made up that nonsense just to trick Tycoon, right?"
We're on to you now, fucker.
Yep. So this is where it all starts to turn around against Daiichi. Ace sends Keiwa off to score, and Ace tells him like, "I'll defend the canteen." And Neon and Sae again seem like they're trusting Keiwa. Sae gives back the ninja buckle, so again the tides are like shifting back towards Keiwa's favor. Keiwa goes on a freaking run at this point. Like, dude runs up a building. He's like dodging vines left and right. He runs through an office floor in the building and like flies out the other side. Um, he's like trying to dunk the ball, trying to throw it. He loses his sword at one point, and then like there's like a Giamato that like tries to like blast him out of the air. He's still pushing forward with the ball. His eye lens busts open.
That part
Like,
was awesome. Like
yeah,
his,
it was
his
really
mask
cool.
cracks out of like fighting the giant finisher shot blast. And it's almost like when Spider-Man gets beat up real bad in like
Oh
one of
yeah,
the movies, you just see his like eye through his mask kind of thing.
it's
But it was like
very much
super, it
that.
was
Yeah,
super dramatic.
I love anytime they point out that it's a helmet that they're wearing and like there's a real person underneath. Like we saw that a little bit with like masks cracking and stuff before, but this was definitely the most we've seen where like it didn't just crack, it broke off and you could see an eyeball underneath. Like that's very cool. Um, so anyway, Ace busts through, or sorry, Kawa busts through all of this, force, ends up scoring, ends up winning. In the midst of all of that happening, Ace and Daiichi are kind of continuing to have their confrontation, and Ace basically asks him like, casting doubt or gaining trust, which one do you think comes out on top? Which I thought was very cool.
Yeah, like again, like he knew the whole time what was going on. I feel like, or he just like
Yeah,
trying to teach this guy before he's like probably gonna be voted off. / does get voted off. He's like you win more flies with sugar than
honey then with vinegar.
yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's the same vibe of like people are always gung ho about like you can't like force people to respect you. You have to earn their respect, and things work way better. And it's the same
yep.
general vibe of like, yeah, like you didn't have to be a dick the whole time. Just let people trust you, and it would have worked out probably a little bit better in your favor than it did this time.
Yeah, I love Ace's little lessons like that. Kawa, of course, scored, and we get Kawa-kun arigato. Everyone thanks Kawa for the big win. And then, of course, yes, because the big tide shifted in Kawa's favor, Daiichi's, I guess, duplicitous nature got exposed. We are taken to the disaster voting. Everybody votes. You see them all enter it into their phones. The voting results are 1 for Kawa, 4 for Daiichi. So Daiichi is eliminated.
And of course, like they did it like I don't know how much you watch like the actual show Survivor, but so the way that Survivor works is it's not rigged where they obviously like add or take away votes, but they obviously organize the votes in the way they want it for the TV drama part of it.
Yes,
As they
sort
them.
Yeah,
they pre-sort before they start doing it. So it's the same thing. Like it was 1 vote for Pidgey, which is obviously Kawa's because they both make a face. Then it was 1 vote for Kawa, which is obviously from Pidgey, and they both make a face. And you're like, at that point, you're like, okay, so obviously one of the two of them are going home. Which way is this going to go? And then just like splashes up like all of Pidgey's votes. Rapid fire. They're like, yep, 4-1, you're out.
Ding, 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 ding. And he's gone. He's being eliminated. His like final quote as he's leaving is, "I hope you don't come to regret my elimination." Jerk, I hate him. Very happy to see him go, but we find out that he wasn't the disaster. So he was definitely trying to frame Kawa, we'll say, but not because he was the disaster himself. So Geats goes to visit Gene again, or meets up with Gene again, and Gene tells us Natch Sparrow wasn't the disaster. Geats basically says, like, yeah, I know. and
gotta do what you
yeah,
gotta do.
we get confirmation that, yeah, he wasn't the disaster. So someone else was, and he was just trying to manipulate the game.
So at this point, now that we're down to 4, if Pidgey definitely was not the destructor, who do you think it is?
I think it has to be Ace, because I don't think it can be Kawa, because like we were talking about, I think if it was him, he would just be paralyzed with indecision of what to do and what the right thing to do is, and can't hurt his friends and all that stuff. And I think that Sae and Neon are having genuine enough conversations about it that like I don't I think if Sae was secretly the spy, she wouldn't have cared enough to like figure out Neon's real feelings about Kawa. Like she was really trying to get to the bottom of like, can I trust Kawa or not? So obviously, if she's the disaster, she wouldn't have needed to know.
I
Um,
think it was just to help validate which way to vote, because a good way to set up how this keeps going is if Sai is the destructor, disaster, whatever the hell it is, like then it does a better betrayal on Neon at the end of this,
yeah,
where it's
that's fair.
like you fucking played me, and then Neon can get real upset and freak out on her or whatever. But I
There
think
isn't. Yeah,
because Geet seems too obvious, I feel like, and then Kawa also seems too obvious. Like Geet seems too obvious to be him. Kawa seems too obvious to not be him. So it has to be one of the two girls. And I feel like Neon can't be off the show, I guess is the best way to put it.
yeah.
And it seems like that's the only way that she can stay on is if Sai is the destructor then.
There is a scene, like we didn't touch on it because it lasts for like 2 seconds, but there's an odd scene here where like Neon opens the curtain in their like lounge and sees Sae like sitting on the couch, and like Neon kind of like looks at her and like lingers for a split second, and then we like move on real quick. Like something weird was supposed to be happening there that I'm not sure I understand what was going on. So yeah, that could lead to like there's the girls were knowing something that the other one wasn't, or something like that. I don't know. I it's funny to say, no matter who it ends up being, I'm going to be shocked about it.
I'm going to be shocked. It's going to be an awesome twist however they do it. It's all going to
Yeah,
make sense and work out perfectly. It's all going to
and
be
they
like a great thing.
they're gonna I for sure they're gonna be able to go back through and like point out all the times that they undermined the rest of the group too. Like
Exactly. A nice flashback sequence will all be set.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm very excited to find out. So, like it took me a little bit to get into the reality show like shift that happened here. But now I'm like 100% on board with all of the disaster stuff. Like this is very exciting.
And then,
Uh,
so at the end of this,
yep.
when KY is getting his pep talk, it shows the current standings of popularity. Geats is at 45%. KY up to 30 now, so from 1% to 30%.
Yeah, it's a big jump.
Huge jump. Sai is 20%, and Neon is 15. I think it says that math should be correct.
15. Yep. So Neon heading back down into the KY territory.
No, that should be right, because that's 110%. Whoever did the little translating thing here, I think fucked up.
Wait, okay, so that'd be 45, that'd be 55, 65, that'd be
because 20 and 30
75,
is 50.
85, 95. It's 100 and
110. Whatever.
It's
Either way,
yeah.
Nia's at the bottom. KY's second place. Geats is still the king as always.
It is 110. That's funny. Yeah, but the gist is there basically that yeah, Geats is back up top. Tycoon has rocketed forward
with his inspirational. Everyone bullied me and I still won the game and fuck all you.
So it'll be interesting to see if he can maintain that now, right? Like he went through his big arc of redemption. What's he do next time? Like he doesn't, does he stay stagnant? Do his numbers go down? I don't think he has that staying power at the top, is what I'm saying.
I don't think so either. And there's one game left now, right? It's always 3 games. So it should be one game left.
Oh yeah, two more episodes maybe.
Unless there's some big twist again and it gets stretched up to 3, but
yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about what they're doing. Also, I'm really glad that this game, because they were doing the disaster and stuff, didn't start with like a million writers that all died in the first game.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely
we'd have to go through
easier
that.
to focus this way of just like there's 5 people to vote for. Just go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that is it's the end of our game. What do you think they're going to play next now that we're done with basketball? Obviously, the games are a little bit more ridiculous now, it seems like, in this era of the show.
I feel like it has to be something where like personalities can shine more so than just like a fighting one.
Yeah.
So it has to be something where like people can take hard stances of like this person's doing the right thing, this person's doing the wrong thing, blah blah blah.
I want to see them play like chess, but where like the pieces are the other humans.
That'd be amazing. Or like they have to like fight their way to their position. Like
yeah, that
like,
would work too.
Like, hey, while you're the pawn, Geats, you're the king, say you're the queen. Like you have to play chess with yourselves.
Could you imagine like the arguments too of like no, you're a pawn, I'm sacrificing you to advance our position. Like, no, you're sacrificing me because you're the disaster.
It all works, man. It all works.
It'd be great. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, I think, for this episode. Again, they keep doing it, Toby. They keep putting out good episodes, dang it.
They're pros. They're definitely pros.
Yeah, continue to be excited for the next one every time. You out there in the world, if you would like to send us emails, as we mentioned earlier, please send those along. We love hearing from you. We love hearing from new voices in our show's community. Send those emails to cast@kamenridersucks.com. Of course, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast in your favorite podcast app. Just search for the Comment Riders. And also, you are subscribed on YouTube and you are liking all the videos there. You can find the video playlist by going to kamenridersucks.com. That's the easiest way to find it. Otherwise, just search for Pretty Deece on YouTube to find the channel. You'll find all the videos there as well. Of course, people can keep up with us when we aren't on the show. Toby, where can the people find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Life of Tobes, Tobes. You can find all my YouTube nonsense at Tobes Plays on YouTube as well.
YouTube nonsense, playing the best games of all time.
Every game, all the time, best games.
100% full throttle action.
The Citizen Kane of YouTubers is right here.
if Citizen Kane played hundreds of video games and put out thousands of YouTube videos. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr. I am at Pretty Deece Josh. That's PrettyDecejosh. So once again, we will be back for Kamen Rider Geats episode 20 in this reality that we call life. But until then, have a great week. Peace, everybody.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electron.